And what do you think of the current Conservative Party? Because you famously left the party. You're no longer a member.
No, I'm not. I left it over the debacle over Brexit and the complete betrayal of the referendum result under Theresa May. And when the Brexit Party finally did achieve Brexit and dissolved itself, I didn't join the New Reform Party, but I certainly was never going to go back to the Conservatives. What I want to see from conservatism is a devotion to freedom. It's the end of the cancel culture. That is what I want to see. That is what I consider to be one of the most important issues. But all the arguments are about taxes, and that's important. But I think there are other things which are important as well, and none more so than freedom.
Absolutely, because, I mean, the conversations have very much been centred around pound and pence and not perhaps on the values of the Conservative Party and what it actually stands for. Do you think, Anne, the Conservative Party, perhaps it's pulling in two different directions? There are two coalitions within the party itself, and that those two coalitions are pulling apart to such an extent that it's just forgotten who it is?
Well, all major political parties are coalitions. The Labour Party is a coalition, the Conservative Party is a coalition, because you have a very broad range of view linked by certain common values. And one of those common values used to be the liberty of the individual. Not just the economic liberty of the individual, but the political liberty of the individual, the religious liberty of the individual. You should be able to say anything you like. Obviously within some bounds, but you should be able to say what you think freely, without fear for your livelihood, without fear of being what they now call cancelled. That is what you should be able to do. And that was fundamental to the Conservative Party that I belonged to and that I, faithfully served for 55 years.
Yes, and I wonder, just reflecting ever so slightly on the terrible attack of Salman Rushdie, do you actually think politicians, because I mentioned at the start of the show that actually politicians were pretty loath to speak out in the case of the Batley Grammar School teacher, remember that one? And of course, over recent months, we've heard debates around blasphemy as far as films are concerned, with films being pulled from cinema chains, not being shown because of a few protests. Do you think actually the Conservative Party should be much more robust in challenging this kind of nonsense?
Yes, but I don't think it's just the Conservative Party. I don't think it's just government in general. I think it's also, all of us citizens need to be a lot more robust. Institutions need to be a lot more robust, instead of which they appear to have been taken over completely by this woke culture. And of course, there should be a much sharper recognition that a lot of the trouble is caused by disproportionately few people. And it seems to me now that it only takes one keyboard warrior to complain to a cinema or complain to a theatre, and immediately everybody goes into a spin and alters the programme. Well, they shouldn't.
Yeah, and which one of the two candidates then, and were you still a member of Parliament for the Conservative Party, which one would you be backing?
Well, I have been backing Liz Truss, but I was terribly disappointed when within 24 hours she talked about criminalising wolf whistling. I mean, haven't the police got anything better to do? She wants a 20% reduction in crime and then wants to put those sorts of silly burdens on them. And within the same 24 hours, Rishi Sunak came out with statements about freedom, about controlling digital trolling, about the liberty of the individual. And I thought, hang on, have I got this right? And at this point, I have to say, I think that Liz Truss has better policies on taxes, better policies on defence. I think all of that. But to me, I cannot believe the way that she has ignored freedom.